What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for international roundup. The internationals is done and dusted till the summer, so we can focus on Tottenham from now until the end of the season.
Don't look too happy. We've got Tottenham back.
We got our Tottenham back. But just before we get into it, please do hit that subscribe button. Only 40% of you are subscribed, so go and smash
40%?
that subscribe button.
Nearly half of them. Come on, subscribe. You're watching, you're not subscribing.
Go follow us on social media platforms such as X, TikTok, Facebook and Instagram as well. We'll bring you some different kind of content on there. But let's get into this international roundup, and we're going to start off talking about Yves Bissouma, who didn't carry on his goal contribution record for Mali in this game as they drew 0-0 with the Central African Republic. He was playing in a more orthodox position in the centre of centre three for Mali in this game. Did play 90 minutes, did captain the side, but nothing really to talk about with a 0-0 draw.
Maybe he should have played further forward. Maybe they would have scored.
Yeah, maybe.
But he does seem to take up that role for Mali a bit more. But yeah, fair play to him. 0-0 draw. Tough away game, potentially. I don't really know. But fair play.
Yeah, to the Central African Republic. I mean, I never even heard of them before, to be honest, this game. But it is what it is. That's Yves Bissouma. Let's talk about England now as they beat Latvia by 3-0. Once again, Dominic Solanke was an unused substitute in the game. A little bit better this time from England in Thomas Tuchel's second game, but still nothing really to write home about, to be honest.
Yeah, it's only a second game, to be fair. But I would have liked Solanke to get a few minutes. But
yeah.
I don't mind the rest. But I think a few minutes would have just kept him ticking over until he comes back to Tottenham. But I guess 2 weeks rest for a player who does the amount of work he does is not an awful thing. And hopefully he comes back to Spurs kind of fresh, and maybe the training with the England teammates and gets a different perspective and all these different things. Hopefully he comes back fresh to Tottenham. But in terms of Tuchel, yeah, won his first 2 games, clean sheet in both games. I agree, it's not much of a departure so far from Southgate, but it's probably going to take more than 2 games to implement his style. Yeah,
for sure. And it's hard as well when you take, which is essentially like a one week camp, and you're trying to ask him to change a lot about the team, right? And you'll learn a lot more about these kind of teams and his kind of setup probably over the summer, particularly in the tournament. That's
what I'm saying. You're probably not going to see the difference now because, let's be honest, we breezed through the qualifiers under Southgate anyway, so it's not really much has to change there.
Yeah. Let's move on and let's talk about the French under-21 team as they beat Slovakia by 4-0. Mathys Tel starting the game. Wilson Odobert coming off the bench in the last 15 minutes. Tel starting as a left winger in this game and grabbing 2 goals. And 2 goals of a really high degree, to be honest, from Mathys Tel. And hopefully, I'll show you the goals in a second, but hopefully this can kind of boost his confidence coming back to Spurs.
For sure, because definitely that's something that he's been lacking in terms of he's come to Tottenham having played very little at Bayern. He's been kind of thrust into the action in a position maybe, especially playing against Premier League centre-backs who are very physical, and he's definitely struggled to kind of implement himself on the game, I would say. I've seen a bit of more of him on the wing, and really great that he's gone on the wing for the France national team, all the under-21s, and he's showing what he can do. And as you said, like 2 really good finishes. Hopefully he comes back to Spurs kind of refreshed and a bit more confident, because he's kind of lacked that a bit, I feel, lacked that rhythm. But he's going to have to fight for his place when he comes back to Spurs as well, because he's not going to be guaranteed that game time in the important games anyway.
Yeah, not in the important games, but I feel like in the Premier League where, there's not much jeopardy in it right now, I feel like he has to be given most minutes in the Premier League and start pretty much week in, week out in those games to see what he's really about. Because if we're going to take up this option, we need a reason to take up the option.
Agreed. But as well, it's not like the wingers in Europa League are... Look, they've been good, but it's not like they've been that good that Tel couldn't fight his way into that team.
No,
anyway.
He can definitely fight it, he's going up against Sonny, though.
He's going up against Son, who can play on the right. He played on the right for a bit against Fulham as well. So I think there's potential for him to get into that team, but he's got to show that he's capable of starting in those games.
Yeah. Let's go and have a look at the goals then. If we go on to X. Give me 1 second. So this was... So look at this. Bursting down the pitch, and there's Tel waiting on the left-hand side. Quick cut in, and boom!
Beautiful.
Into the far corner. What a
confident
lovely goal
as well, driving towards goal, not giving the opposition fullback a second to think. He just drives, and that's really great. That's the run I like to see from him a bit more in the Tottenham show. We haven't seen that much. shows he's got that calmness in front of goal, that composure, lovely little chip finish, and that run out to in. We haven't seen that much from that in kind of that kind of run in the Spurs shirt yet.
Yeah, as well, like when he's been played number 9, he hasn't really had that. The opposition haven't really afforded us that kind of space.
He's always playing his back to goal, not with the ability to get in behind.
The only time he's had that kind of opportunities to score as a number 9 was against Manchester United, but it wasn't those kind of, space in behind, because they play like, with a back 3 and is kind of congested there. But he did have the opportunities to score in that game. Yeah. Just didn't take those chances.
And obviously, he scored against Villa with I wouldn't say similar, it was more of a cross, but that was more of like also like an out, so just kind of getting into that space. But yeah, I want to see more of that run, because clearly when he gets in that position, he can be deadly. Yeah,
so let's hope he can come back to Spurs with more confidence. Let's move on. Let's talk about Archie Gray, as he started in England under 21s. 4-2 win over Portugal, played 70 minutes at right back.
Right back. We know that's a position he's familiar with. I want to see him more in that position and in midfield as well, because those are the positions he's been playing a lot kind of before he came to Tottenham. And I know he's been forced to centre-back, but I don't really want to see him play there too much more, especially now we got centre-backs fit and available again. I hope that he's not going to be playing too much there between now and the end of the season, so I want to see him in a more familiar role. So it's good that he was playing at full-back.
Yeah, his stats read 2 clearances, 1 block shot, 97% accurate passes, 1 key pass, 1 big chance created as well, and 2 dribble attempts were successful. So it looks like a fairly good game for Archie.
Yeah, good stuff.
Next up, we're going to look at Mikey Moore, as England under-19s did beat Portugal under-19s by 1-0. Mikey Moore did start the game and did... Well, it wasn't really an official assist, but he was the one that really created the goal, because I think it got a touch of another player in between before it hit Chris Riggs. So, making an impact again, Mikey.
Yeah, which is great. And he's done that in the first game as well, got an assist. So, good stuff. And I know he's not been getting too much game time in recent weeks for Spurs, but hopefully this just kind of keeps that confidence flowing through him, because we saw at Tottenham when he was getting that little bit of game time a few weeks ago, and he had that confidence, he was providing things, and he was doing well. So good that he was kind of providing assists and showing what a good talent he is.
Yeah, and this was the goal that he contributed in. So there's Mikey Moore, picks it up here, beats a man, beats 2 men, crosses the ball in the box, causes havoc, and the ball ends up in the back of the net. So big up to Mikey.
Ooh. Off the right-hand side there.
Yeah, off the right-hand side as well. So definitely showing some... I mean, he's got 2 assists in 2 games for the under-19s, so let's hope he can bring that back to Tottenham as well. Next up, we're going to look at Korea, as they drew 1-1 with Jordan. Son Heung-min playing 90 minutes in a disappointing day for Korea once again. 2 draws in their 2 games. And interestingly enough, Son Heung-min got taken off in stoppage time before the end of the game, when Korea really were looking to push for that winner, which was quite disappointing in my opinion.
Yeah, surprising. You don't expect that. But I thought better performance in this one from Sonny than the one against Oman a few days ago. Took some really great corners, was creating quite a few chances. Korea probably should have put the game to bed earlier on with some of the chances they had, which Sonny was creating. Did obviously get an assist for the goal as well. But yeah, second half, he didn't have the same kind of impact, unfortunately.
Yeah, he was playing in the number 9 position, and then the second half did move over to the left at some point. But yeah, you just don't think that when Korea are pushing for a goal, they're going to take off Son Heung-min, especially with no Lee Kang-in as well.
It was surprising.
But we did have a debut for Lee Kang-in, Yang Min-hyuk, who came on at half-time for his first senior appearance.
Yeah, wasn't a great half from him, in all honesty. Did struggle to kind of get on the ball and get involved in the game. They showed a few kind of flashes, though. There was one moment where he had to track back one of the Jordan player attackers, and he made a really good tackle kind of when they were looking to counter-attack, and that was quite a good moment from him. And then there was one moment late in the game where he does find a really good pass into Sonny, and they did link up quite a bit in that moment. And it was a really good pass into Sonny, who got into the penalty area, but he didn't make the most of it. So that was a nice moment, but unfortunately, he just struggled to really get on the ball, to be honest.
All right, let's move on, and we're going to look at Sweden 5, Northern Ireland 1. Obviously, Lucas Bergvall didn't take any part in the game, wasn't on the bench, still suffering from that illness, and was sent back to Tottenham early. But Jamie Donnelly got his first start for Northern Ireland. We'll go and have a look at his stats in a second, but yeah, great for Jamie. Obviously, came off the bench in the first game, gets his first start in this game.
And I think, did he get the number 10 shirt as well?
That I can't tell you.
Yeah, well, I'm glad for him because it's showing he wants to show what he can do on the international stage.
Yeah, number 10 shirt. He actually started up front.
So starting in the false 9 position, Donnelly, obviously not a position he's used to, but that's probably part of the reason he chose Northern Ireland. He knew he was going to be a instant starter and one of their star players immediately. So and that's been proven by how much they've used him straight away. But obviously, it's not a great day for Northern Ireland being beaten 5-1 by Sweden. Isaac completely ripping them apart.
Oh God, some of the goal contributions that he had in this game was insane, really. But yeah, his game by numbers, one shot which was off target, one dribble that wasn't successful, one key pass. Not great numbers, to be honest.
Not a great day for Northern Ireland.
Did draw 4 fouls, though.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Next up, we're going to look at the Macedonia-Wales game, which finished 1-1. Ben Davies and Brennan Johnson both starting in the game. Ben Davies captaining in the side, playing 90 minutes. Brennan Johnson back again in the striking position, 85 minutes for him. But again, I don't think it was a performance to write home about.
No, apparently it wasn't great. It was a bit of a weird game. I've seen that the Macedonia took the lead in the 93rd minute and Wales equalised in the 97th. So a pretty crazy ending, but doesn't sound like Brennan again playing up front in a position that we know is just not particularly fantastic for him, and he did struggle again to impact the game. Very little touches, didn't really cause him too many problems, which is not great for him.
Yeah, one big chance missed and one shot he had in the game, which is unfortunate. I don't know if you saw that chance as well. There was actually a chance where Brennan Johnson's marauding down the front and they've got a winger, and it's basically Brennan's like one-on-one with his defender, and he's just like darting towards the back post when all he needed to do was run, keep going in a straight line. He probably would have got it. Too much of that back post, Brennan.
Yeah, I didn't see it, unfortunately.
And Ben Davies did start at left back, so that's his heat map.
Left back?
Yeah, 2 clearances, 1 interception, 1 tackle, and 1 key pass in the game for Ben Davies. Let's look at the Bolivia-Uruguay game. It's finished 0-0 in Bolivia. Rodrigo Bentancur, back-to-back starts, back-to-back 90 minutes. And yeah, probably disappointing not to take 3 points against Bolivia, but Uruguay are pretty much home and hosed in the World Cup.
Yeah, another performance in defensive midfield as well for Bentancur. Seems like he's had a pretty decent international break.
He was alongside Ugarte, so I'd expect that Ugarte was probably the further one back.
Potentially, but seems like he's had a pretty good international break, Bentancur. We need him to get up to speed for these last kind of knockings of the season, because he's probably going to be our main 6 for the last 2 months of the season. So good for him to get that kind of game time and play well, and hopefully that can kind of boost his confidence, come back to Spurs.
Yeah, this is his heat map, which I found quite interesting. Look at this heat map from Rodrigo Bentancur. If you can bring it up, look where the main red is in the opposition box.
No, it's in his own box.
Oh, is that his own box?
Yeah, so clearly picking the ball off the centre-backs.
It's his own box.
So
wow.
He must have been playing defensive midfield, I'm guessing, if that's his heat map.
Well, let's look at Ugarte's. Yeah, he was also pretty defensive, to be fair.
Double pivot.
If you look at the stats, Bolivia did absolutely smash them, to be honest. 32 shots in the game for Bolivia.
So he got away with the draw there.
Yeah. Next up is Senegal 2, Togo 0. Pape Mathys Tel playing 90 minutes and scoring a goal as well on the day. Yeah, it's good to see Pape, because he didn't start the last game, but he did start this one, and he scores a goal. And let's go and have a look at this goal.
And I've noticed definitely in recent weeks, definitely getting to a few more goal scoring positions like he was last season, and also maybe at times this season, earlier in the season when he scored a few goals. Brentford, he got a nice goal. Obviously, Bournemouth, a bit of luck, but he got a goal in that game. Was definitely getting into a few more attacking positions. And now he's got a goal on international duty with a really nice finish, late run into the box, and just calmly slots it into the far corner. Lovely finish from him. So I think he's definitely starting to get back into those positions like we've seen him do over his career at Tottenham.
Yeah, the good thing about this goal is the way he wins the ball back in the middle of the park, and then he just carries on that darting run, makes a good pass, receives it again, and a lovely finish to match it.
Yeah,
so,
he's got that in him to be that kind of player. So
yeah. And last but not least, we're going to look at the fiery Argentina-Brazil game. 4-1 in the Super Classico. Cuti Romero playing 2 sets of 90 minutes over the course of this international break. Did have a bit of a stinker with the goal that Brazil did score. But apart from that, he didn't really put a foot wrong throughout the game. Very dominant performance by Argentina. They pretty much played Brazil off the park, didn't they?
Yeah, it was incredible, especially as well. sliced them open as easily as they did without Lionel Messi as well on the pitch was really impressive. I thought they were phenomenal, and they're really becoming a machine at the moment under Lionel Scaloni. They've won 3 tournaments back to back. I mean, they've become a machine, I would say. Yeah, 3 tournaments winning back to back, and they're completely well clear at the top of the league as well in South America. With the obviously World Cup coming up, they've been fantastic in the group stages, and they completely annihilated this Brazil team, and it was a really feisty affair. But Romero obviously make that mistake for the goal, and unfortunately was a bit of a howler on his part. But he actually had a really good game apart from that. Was it a bit of a surprise he started? I guess considering we're hearing he wasn't going to start 2 games, but he did playing 90 minutes twice. But
there was no way he was not going to play this game.
Yeah, I thought once I saw him in the Uruguay game, I thought no chance he's not playing this game as well.
Yeah, and if we just bring up the Brazil goal, this is the mistake that he made. So just dilly-dallying on the ball for way too long, giving Brazil that encouragement.
Look how long he dallied on it. I mean, he just sees Cunha coming and he doesn't react anywhere near quick enough. So that was a really poor moment from him, unfortunately. But he did have a really good game other than that. But obviously, he has that in him. And he has made a few of those mistakes, to be honest. Obviously, look back at the Bournemouth game. It was quite similar. So maybe he's still getting back to his best, really.
But look, he did have a really good game apart from that. I saw a Argentinian publication doing player ratings after this game, and they gave him an 8 out of 10, and they said apart from that stinker, he pretty much was impeccable.
And he was. I was watching it. He was fantastic.
So that is it. That is your international roundup, the last international roundup until the summer. Once again, please do go and smash that subscribe button and follow us on all social media platforms as well, X, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. But thank you everyone for joining us today. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.